Hello, I'm Steven, the calculator guy, and this video is just going to be like a bunch of random DeFi updates. Not really too structured, just some things I'm thinking about and wanted to sort of get out of the way before I start moving on to other things later in the week. So, first things first, I updated the rebase calculator sort of on request. I added geom as a column because many people are migrating to geom for v2, which I totally get. It's the time to do it if you want to get those rebases. I also saw that the APY got skyrocketed sort of in compensation for like the missed rebases. So it's really cool. Also has incentive to do geom and sort of like help pay for those ridiculous gas fees. So that was really cool. Basically, if you don't know what geom is, it's just wrapped SOM with a governance feature. So you can now like go and vote on DAO proposals, which is awesome. So at least in my opinion, as someone who really supports the idea of DeFi. So geom is just calculated by the price, whatever the price is, times the current index. The current index you can pull right from the Olympus DAO website. Current index here, 46. So if we go in and put 46 in for the current index, currently, there's no way that I know of to scrape that from the website. If you know how to do that and you can help me, then please leave a comment and then we'll get this done. We'll have a live index. But I couldn't myself do that. So you type in the index and that'll give you your geom price. Unclick or click live and there you go. That changes. So there's that. There's the rebase calc mini update. Hopefully I'll have a link for this calculator in the description. If not, this one's pinned on my Twitter. So if you have my Twitter, just go to the pinned, click on the rebase calculator. It'll be automatically updated over there. Did release the impermanent loss calculator. That was pretty cool. Okay, so I want to do an update on these looping strategies that I talked about before, because Solend was what I went with, and it's doing surprisingly well. So if you look at the borrow APY right now, the UST, which is what I was borrowing, went into the negative. And what that means is they're paying me to borrow it. Now, of course, they're paying me in a proprietary, like, sort of farm token, with Solend, but that's fine because I can just go ahead and sell that every so often, and I'm cool with that. So effectively, what I have been doing is I have been supplying USDC, like a small amount. I think $634. You can see up here. I just threw some money into Solana. I didn't know what to do with it, so I decided to do some looping for fun, sort of like just to practice my get my looping skills on point with a really fast chain like Solana. So, anyways. I supplied $634 of USDC at a higher, at that point in time it was a higher supply APY than USDT, and then I borrowed USDT, converted it into USDC, and recollateralized there. So that's what I was doing. That's how I looped. So I bought USDC, I lent USDC, supplied USDC, borrowed USDT, flipped it for USDC, often at a profit, surprisingly, on Jupiter, and then recollateralized that, borrowed some more, and sort of looped that. And so you could sort of see I created this Solend loop calculator to check that out. And it was at the point, this is what the original metrics were. It was 11.5 and 6.66. That was the borrow APY. Spooky, I know, but now if you put in the new numbers, right, the new numbers, which is 6.12 and negative pi. So 6.12 and negative 3.14. I'm actually getting around 30% APY on this. Now, granted, I have to constantly sell my SLND or be bullish on Solend, which it's hard for me to be bullish on any of these tokens whose sole purpose it is to be used as rewards. But still, it's pretty cool. So I'm happy with that. I'm actually very happy with this. That I almost wish it was a larger investment, but I'm not recommending this protocol. I'm just giving you guys an update on this particular mechanism. Now, just exploring protocols as one might do. I also looked at Trader Joe because I like Trader Joe. I like them a lot actually, and even though they may be fighting a bit with Danny, I still love them. So I was venturing around, just looking at stablecoin things. I was looking at their pools for stablecoins and their farms and what they had available. And I went over to lending because why not? And I noticed that they're lending. If you just give them some USDC or USDT for like just so they can lend it out, you're actually going to get a better APY or APR than you would from pooling, which I thought was kind of ridiculous. But hey, better because it's single-side staking. Not that you would ever have an impermanent loss for USDC, USDT, but now you can sort of hedge your bets on whichever one you think is better. I know people are sort of anti both of these, but whichever one you think has a stronger case, you could go with that. But the interesting thing here, in my opinion, is the fact that you could, and this is really important, you could loop these effectively. So what you would do is what I would do is I would take USDT, I would add it here, I would deposit it here, and then I would borrow the stablecoin with the lowest APY. So in this case, like these negative APYs, to my understanding, it's not like, let's see. Yeah, if borrowing pay the interest for borrowing APY is negative, represent the interest that you pay lenders. The interest that you pay to lenders. Right, yeah, exactly. So the negative APY here is not the same as the negative on Solend, which threw me for a loop initially. Get it? A loop? But so negative here literally means that you would be paying that APY instead of receiving it, which it makes sense, but the fact that platforms don't have this uniform across is frustrating. Like here, negative means they're paying you. Here, negative means you're paying them. So fine, whatever. You acclimate to the protocol you're on. So again, you could provide USDT and then borrow the stablecoin with the lowest negative APY, which in this case is DAI, and then convert that DAI to USDT and loop that process, right? Now, I would use OpenOcean personally, because you're probably going to get the best rates there. Again, I like these sort of these swap aggregators because you get the best rates. So I'd go to OpenOcean, probably get a pretty decent swapping rate. Like if I'm getting horrible rates, I'm not going to do it. Like when I did it on Solend, I was literally making $1 on going from USDT back to USDC. So I was super happy with that because there was no loss in that process. I think I might have lost like 16 cents once, but I was fine with that. So let's say you want to know how much you'd be making, right? Of course you do. So I would go over to this looping calculator, which I'm just going to call, I don't know, maybe I'll call this my stable looping calculator because it doesn't account for any impermanent loss because it doesn't have to. So the supply APY again was 10.11. So 10.11. And then the borrow APY was 6 point something. 6.44. So 6.44. It's a positive 6.44. So it's negative, but it'll be positive here. I know it's confusing. So the cool thing here, after about 10 loops, now it's a bit intense to do 10 loops. It'll probably take you like 20 minutes, but you're getting 20% APY, which I guess my whole thing is if it doesn't beat Anchor, I'm not doing it, and this is barely beating Anchor. So I'm probably not doing it, but it's interesting to know that the option is there. So, what you can do is you can go to all these different lending protocols and sort of check out their stable lending versus stable borrowing APRs and APYs, and like if it is the case that the borrow is lower than if one of the borrows is lower than one of the deposits, then you can see using this calculator if you loop that what you can project. Now it's really important to know that these are variable and these could change. Now in the case of Solend, it changed to my favor. I think I was originally getting like 25%, now I'm getting 30 something percent. So it changed in a way that benefits me, and I'm totally cool with that. I imagine with really larger platforms like Trader Joe, it may change in ways that are not to my favor. For example, this may go down and this may go up. But it's just neat to see these things. Bitcoin is pretty interesting too. It'd be cool if you could do that with Bitcoin. However, you're probably going to lose some in the fees there. Are there any that have like a big discrepancy that you could loop? Link, actually. So let's just, I don't know if you're allowed to borrow against itself. So some protocols don't let you do that. Like you can't borrow the same thing that you deposit. I know 100 Finance is like that. or 100 finite, whatever it is, 100. So let's just say I do 4.45 and 1.16 just to see like what you could get with Chainlink. I forget what it was, like 4 point something, 4.1415 or something, and then 4.45 and 0.16. 4.45 and 0.16%. Okay, so that's not bad, right? You're getting, you're sort of topping off at 17% after 13 loops, but 17% on links, pretty good. Anyways, let's continue just, rambling. I was watching Donku's interview, also Thor's video on Astroport and even Mars. So Astroport's lock drop phase 1 thing starts tomorrow, which is pretty cool. The basic idea there is that like you're going to be able to deposit your TerraSwap liquidity onto Astroport and lock it up for a certain amount of time for Astro token rewards. And you'll have 5 days to do this, so hopefully tomorrow I'll be able to do a fuller video on this. And also we'll have some data. We'll see what people are doing, and so it'll be a more informed video. But basically it's going to be like the biggest AMM on the Terra ecosystem. Like it's going to presumably be doing a lot of different things. Astroport's like people has Delphi behind it, so theoretically it's going to be a huge protocol, probably one of the top 5 protocols in the next year. That doesn't necessarily mean the token is going to do well. I don't know if you looked at like Geist, for example. Geist is one of the biggest protocols on Phantom. The Geist token does not necessarily reflect that, so keep that in mind. But Astro token could do really well, and presumably, like now that we're splitting the liquidity between TerraSwap and Astroport, what you could see is that because this liquidity is being split, the liquidity is lower on both of those, so the liquidity fees will go up on probably TerraSwap first, and then we maybe have decent fees on Astroport. So there are different strategies to be discussed, and we can definitely discuss those in a future video, but it's something that I'm certainly looking into. I am also, speaking of Terra, there we go. Nope. There we go. I'm also looking at the White Whale boot swapping event, which still has 1 day left. The price has, like these events often have, the price has gone down dramatically. I think that a fair price is somewhere between 10 and 50 cents post IDO, so we'll see if I'm right. I could be totally wrong on that. That's assuming that Whale and the White Whale protocol is functional and the arbitrages show to be profitable, and that the arbitrage hopefully is able to generate at or above 20%. Otherwise, people are just going to keep their money in Anchor. And I think that White Whale would recognize that. So we will see. I know White Whale has said that if their arbitrage opportunities are negligible, they're just going to keep the UST that users deposit in Anchor, and then when arbitrage opportunities are more profitable, they move them into arbitrage, so they activate those funds. And so we'll see how well that works. So I've been DCAing. I've been throwing like $50 every 12 hours just to sort of like hedge my bets against this, which is what these things do. And yeah, so excited to see what happens there. Last piece of, I guess, just like update news, whatever you want to call this, is I saw, on just like on the Twitterverse that people were saying that the user or the owner of the @meta, I think, handle on Instagram was gonna, they were gonna get bought and they're gonna make a bunch of money from Facebook, but then Facebook just took it because they can do that because it's their company. They gave it back though, so credit to them. But the point here is that they had the ability to take it. And this reminds me, at least, the importance of DeFi. So in DeFi, you actually own your assets. You actually own everything that you have in the DeFi space. So NFTs, you actually own them. Those pieces of digital property or your digital assets, you actually own them. which is really cool. No one can say, hey, you're using my platform, so I'm going to go ahead and take that, because technically you were just leasing it the entire time. You don't really own your username on Twitter. You don't really own your account on any of these social media sites. The social media company owns it, and you're simply just like utilizing it, or you sort of lease the rights to that for any sort of temporary amount of time. And so this just, I like DeFi, and I keep sort of reminding myself why DeFi is important. And fundamentally for me, it's because of actual ownership of digital assets, actual ownership of financial assets, and then, actual ownership in the future. We'll see how far that extends. Like, we're looking at the metaverse now as Zuckerberg conceptualizes it, which is, a bunch of digital assets which will be under the umbrella of Facebook or the company Meta, versus the metaverse that DeFi is trying to create, which are a bunch of digital assets that are actually owned by you, the user. So we're going to have two competing metaverses. One where everything, including your data, is owned by Facebook, and you just have the rights to lease it temporarily on their platform, or a metaverse where you own everything, and you can bring those and utilize those and play with those, or whatever you're going to do with those, on whichever particular metaverse you're going to participate in. So keep that in mind. I hope this video was at least semi-entertaining for you guys. Yeah, I know there were no tutorials, no like big how-tos or explanations of anything, but quick update. So I say quick, it was 16 minutes. Anyways, if you want more content and access to calculators and a whole bunch of weird stuff, not weird, but just different stuff, go and join the Patreon. If you don't like it, you can quit without getting charged. You can do that before the 30th, I think. And that's it. Thank you all for watching, and have a wonderful rest of your day.